Most men hit their 40s or 50s and something subtle but dangerous begins to happen. They don't crash. They don't fail publicly. They don't lose everything overnight. They simply turn themselves down. They accept the stiffness in the morning. They accept the fading edge. They accept the idea that their best years are behind them. And without realizing it, they stop expecting more. But there's another type of man, rarer, quieter, harder to recognize at first glance. These men aren't just aging, they're evolving, sharper, more grounded, more intentional. They don't chase attention, yet when they walk into a room, people feel it. Today, we're breaking down 3 subtle high-level signs that you're not just getting older, you're becoming an above-average man. And if the third one hits you, you're operating in the top 1% of your generation. Let's get into it. Or in your reaction. 1. The calm center, emotional control under pressure. This doesn't show up when life is easy. Anyone can be calm when everything is working. This shows up when things go wrong, when plans collapse, when pressure spikes, when uncertainty hits hard. That's where most men reveal themselves. They react fast. They talk too much. They externalize stress. They look for someone to blame. They rush into action, not because it's needed, but because silence feels uncomfortable. But the above-average man, he does the opposite. He slows down, not because he doesn't care, but because he understands something most men never learn. Akin enti surur. Panic never improves the situation. If people naturally look at you when things start falling apart, if you're the one who stays composed while others lose control, if you can sit in silence without needing to fill it with noise, that's not luck, that's earned. At some point, you realize something powerful. Emotions are real, but I'm not sure. Uncontrolled emotions are expensive. You learn that reacting instantly often makes things worse. That silence creates clarity. That time, used correctly, is your advantage. This isn't emotional coldness. This is emotional sovereignty. You still feel deeply. You just don't broadcast it. You don't need to prove you're stressed. You don't need to perform frustration. Your nervous system is trained. You've been through enough storms to recognize the pattern. Most problems feel permanent in the moment, but temporary with distance. And because of that, you carry yourself differently. You don't dominate. You don't raise your voice. You don't force presence. Your calm does the work. And that kind of energy, it's rare. It builds trust. It commands respect. It attracts people without effort because people follow men who don't panic. I see in sign number 2, you respect your body, not vanity, capability. This one is physical, but not performative. It's not about looking impressive. It's not about chasing aesthetics. It's about something deeper, self-respect. Most men reach this stage and start treating their body like it's already declining. They move less, eat worse, let themselves go. They use age as an excuse. But the above-average man, he makes a different decision. He understands that his body is not separate from his identity. It's not separate from his future. It's the Gurkha vehicle in that carries everything he wants to do. If you've maintained your mobility, if you still move with intention, if you train for function, not just appearance, you're already ahead of most men. And here's the difference. You're not obsessed. You're consistent. You chose discipline over comfort, maintenance over neglect. In your 20s, fitness is ego-driven. In your 40s, 50s, and beyond, it becomes freedom-driven. Freedom to move without pain. Freedom to travel without limitations. Freedom to live independently. You don't train because you're afraid of aging. You train because you respect yourself too much to decline unnecessarily. You refuse the narrative that says this is just what happens. And that mindset, it compounds quietly, relentlessly. Acrisimum Saki. Sign number 3, the open mind, curiosity, intellectual humility. This is the rarest sign and the most powerful, because most men stop growing mentally long before their body slows down. They stop learning, they stop listening, they stop questioning themselves. They become rigid, defensive, closed. They complain about how the world changed, but never try to understand it. But the above average man, he stays mentally alive. If you're still learning, still exploring ideas, still curious about psychology, people, systems, how things work, if you're willing to admit when you're wrong, you're operating on a completely different level. Because here's the truth. Experience without curiosity becomes stagnation, but experience combined with humility becomes authority. You understand that growth didn't stop at 30. Learning didn't end with school. And being right is less important than being accurate. Neuroplasticity doesn't disappear with age. It disappears with complacency. And when decades of experience meet a beginner's mindset, a mainsai you become someone people naturally gravitate toward, not because you speak the most, but because you understand the most. You become a bridge between generations, between old wisdom and new ideas, between past mistakes and future direction. This is what separates men who age from men who evolve. Being an above-average older man isn't about competing with younger men. That game is over. This is a different game now, a higher-level game, where the rules are clarity over chaos, discipline over comfort, curiosity over rigidity. You're not louder now. You're sharper. You're not chasing validation. You're choosing alignment. And here's the truth most men never realize. You're not past your prime. You're finally in it. Because now you know who you are and you know how to use it. So tell me, which of these signs did you recognize in yourself? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. And if this message hit something real inside you, subscribe to Love, Lies, and Reality. Because this channel is for men who refuse to fade quietly. Men who choose to evolve instead of decline. Stay steady. Stay sharp.